share with you today is kind of like my journey where I went into depression. What I did for myself to get out of depression, right? So this is essentially what I do. I'm an events MC. I also start to host some shows online as well. Now in 2018, I also said I do as well. I'm married, but it's not going to be like a rosy story. From the things that I do, the usual impression will be that you should be a decently cheerful person, got energy kind of stuff. But still, it's not because of what I've been through, but because of the way I've been managing myself, I still went into depression. I would say my depression is the result of my lack of proper management of my own thoughts. So I went from depression, went to divorce and stuff like that. But don't worry, I am not planning to have this session as a short story. So basically, my wife has been struggling with depression for many years. So was my mother-in-law as well, right? So I went to a relationship with her knowing that. So at the very start, I think I was supportive enough. When we first dated, right, I spent a lot of time like staying out like 3, 4 a.m. Where she's giving herself space to, I wouldn't say to emo, but to allow her the emotions to settle. Right? Before I knew her, I kind of like started to find videos of Tony Robbins and tried to pick up some tips and some tricks, be it for myself or for communication-wise, right? So there were things that I learned back then that I tried to apply when I was having conversations with her, many of which were the tough conversations. And then as an MC, I would think that I am decent in being able to choose my words, you see. But yeah, so things still went downhill. What happened was, initially when we first got together, I was decently energetic, positive energy, which she appreciated. But then over the years of having such difficulty going on, right, I slipped up on trying to manage my own thoughts. I slipped up on managing my own mental health. Initially, things were well. I was able to help her to, in a way, continue to navigate whatever she was facing. But then, it came to a certain point of time when I was getting tired. It was physically tiring because there were so many nights when we were having such tough conversations and stuff like that, right? So, yeah, actually I wanted to start to ask whether or not anyone minds vulgarity. Okay, anyway, too late for me to ask. Yeah, when I lost track on managing my own mental health, my own thoughts, I started asking myself, right, am I such a fucked up boyfriend? When such thoughts started coming, right, things started to go downhill. The way I reacted to certain things wasn't as desirable, I guess. So then it went from, am I such a fucked up boyfriend? I started asking myself, am I such a fucked up daddy? And after that, when we got married, I went on to asking myself, am I such a fucked up husband? And the reason why I decided to throw in the vulgarity was because this was the intensity I had back then, right? And it was like for months where I was asking myself such questions. So how did we get from there all the way to like myself asking all these questions, right? It's not about how she reacted. It's not about what were the circumstances, the situations that we were facing, but it was really how I was managing my own thoughts and feelings back then. That I started to lose, and I was getting tired, and then I was just not careful with how my thoughts were, right? And then thereby triggering the emotions and stuff like that, and then the things that I did after. To the extent where I remember very clearly, so there were 2 incidents that really affected me. Number one was, there was once in the middle of the night at cked hospital, right? So my wife wasn't feeling well, we had to send her to hospital, I was with her, right? And then we were just, doctor was saying that, can have her hospitalized, wanted to hospitalize her for the night, right? And then she was struggling whether or not to be hospitalized because her concern was if let's say she were to be hospitalized, then next day morning when our daughter wakes up, cannot see mama, then she'll be afraid, right? It's a legit concern. But my point to it is just, okay, let's get yourself well, and then we worry about anything else. But what went after was that I found myself in the middle of the night at the lobby of KK Hospital. I was on the phone with my mother-in-law, and I was bawling like a baby. I was really like crying, like whimpering, and that sort of stuff. The other part where was a red light to me was that we were having our AGM, the annual
General meeting.
Annual general meeting, yeah. So even the whole team were all talking about figures, sales targets, the forward plans and stuff like that. I was the only one who was crying. I was talking about my family issues and stuff like that. The other part where it was a red light to me was that then make some noise, stuff like that. Events end. I grab my bag, I walk out of the ballroom door, and it really felt to me the whole world became black and white. Like some emo violin music started playing that kind of emo shit, right? So that was really how it felt to me. These were kind of the signs to me that something was wrong. Yeah, so these were the red light to me. So there were things that I did for myself that I feel helped me to get out of depression pretty efficiently, I guess. One of the first things I did was I went to IMH to get checked. The mid-stage depression or something. So then I was on medication for about a month. I stayed on my own first. So because I know back then that my biggest stress point was my inability to manage the marriage well, right? So I had to extract myself. So the thing is, my wife, she has been struggling with depression for many years. So was my mother-in-law as well. So to me, I felt that we can't afford to have another adult in the household that's going to struggle with depression. So I felt that I needed a space on my own. So I stayed apart for some time. I needed to get myself up first before I could come back to take care of the family. But it's just that from there on, so my wife kind of lost trust in me. Actually, a month in, I was way better. So I had to extract myself. Of course, this differs from everyone, be it your job or be it family issues as well. Not everyone gets to do that. And unfortunately, when I did that, that also led to the subsequent situations that we had to deal with. But there were other things that I did for myself. So number one, this is what I did. My playlist, my go-to playlist on Spotify. So what is this? Okay? One of the things I did was I removed all of the emo songs, the down songs. So very often I find that when we are feeling down, we would like to listen to songs that that is in the mood, right? That in a way we feel that it helps us to let out the emotions. My concern about that is if I'm going to spend hours letting myself immerse in the negative emotions, which is not wrong, but if I'm going to spend hours doing that and days doing that, and then it becomes a habit. And then what it does to the brain is basically I'm always in that negative space. Physically, the physical brain is always in that functioning in that negative space, you see. So I don't want it to become a habit, which was what happened before that got me into depression. So this was what I did for myself. I curated the media I was consuming a lot. So Spotify was one of it. So apart from that, I like to scroll Instagram quite a bit as well. So I also started to the things that doesn't give me a positive vibe, I would unsubscribe. Especially in today's age, we are such big consumers of social media. This is one thing that I would really want to encourage to curate what is it that is coming in, right? Because the more you see, the more it triggers the kind of thoughts that you have, and thereby the emotions as well. Yeah. So this was one. Another one is this. Let me show off a bit. Oh yo! Oh yo! Hey, come on, around the applause. Hey! Okay, but this was like 1 or 2 years back. I don't think I can do it now. I got separated from my wife. I stayed alone for some time, trying to do things to get me out of depression as soon as possible. So one of the things which I think is one of the most powerful things is exercise. So what happened was I got to know this other MC friend. I used to stay in Cont'd. Got to know this other MC friend who stays in the next neighborhood, right? And then happened to see him once and got to know that we stay so near each other. And he was sharing with me that he does morning workouts. So I asked him whether I could join his morning workout. It's not intuitive for me to go and tell someone that, hey, can I join your morning workouts? I don't usually do that. But for some reason, I don't know whether it's because like an survival instinct that I had back then. It was the very onset of me staying on my own, me trying to work on my depression. Right? It's damn simple. It's like a very slow job around the neighborhood. Right? Very slow job.